Baruch Hashem, Torah Samech Aleph. So who else do we have than the great Rebbe David HaMelech to teach us the ways of learning Torah? Gal einai ve'abita niflois mitoira secha. Gal einai, Hashem, please open up my eyes that I could gaze at the wonders of your Torah. The Torah is so deep. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. The Torah is so sweet and so pure. And I need to have my eyes opened up. Gal einai. Open up my eyes, Hashem. I don't want my eyes to be sludged shut. I don't want to have what we're going to see. Ashanim Sruchim. This bad smoke that doesn't let me see clearly. Open up my eyes, please, Hashem. So I'd like to do something now. I'd like to see quite a good part of the Torah and then go back and really see it for real. Wow, big pickup. Shalom Aleichem. So let's go inside. We'll ask a few questions as we go through. Let's get cooking. Sound good, Mordechai? Ali de emunas chachamim. Through belief in the great sages. Ramoti was saying last night also, emuna in chachma. Emuna in chachma. Believing in chachma. We're going to see whose chachma that is. Believing in chachma. Which itself, by the way, is a bit of a tarta de sasre. It's a bit contradictory. Because generally we say chachma is something that I have. I have chachma. Even though without getting into the Zohar and Chabad, chachma is koyach ma, the ability to say what, which seems like not really something I have. It's my ability to have bittul to something. But let's say that when we say something to Talmud Chacham, he has some chachma. So what's emunas chachamim? If emunas chacham is also emuna in chachma, then if it's chachma, I have it. If it's emuna, it's something beyond me.
Should go back to this.
Oh, sure, thank you. Emes Yisrael has a gift for the oilam, which is mutter to have before Shachris, according to my personal psak. If it'll give you energy. Not if it's moisterous, not if you don't need it. So emunas chachamim, if it's emuna, it's something beyond. If it's chachma, it's something I seemingly have. So what's the emunas chachamim? So through emunas chacham, simple emunas chachamim, is I believe in the sages. I believe in them. I believe that what they say is bidiyuk, is straight. We're going to see, not to the right, not to the left, it's it. Through that, this line is getting me going. This is what a line. Through this, we could bring out our mishpat la'or. By the way, pay attention. The word hoitzi, lahoitzi, yotzi, yotze is going to come up. The whole Torah is with lahoitzi. Remember, when Rabbeinu comes back to a certain word, you know there's a noisa there. He's dealing with something. There's something he wants to, especially in the first line. Also, seemingly mishpat. We've been dining on the word mishpat. Mishpat's going to be a big noisa here in the Torah. Mishpat, din, goizer, malchus, we're going to see Adam is definitely coursing through this Torah. Because melech b'mishpat, yamad aretz, the melech is always b'mishpat. Mishpat, also a judge is mishpat. Simple pshat also in mishpat is you need to make a mishpat. What does the judge do? He hears one side. Ruvain says, I didn't do anything to Shimon. He's making the whole thing up. Shimon, what happened? I'm telling you, Ruvain came over to me and he slugged me in the nose. Shem Yirachem. Reuven, what do you say about that? I didn't do anything. So where's Shimon coming from? Back and forth. The judge has to say, okay, I hear what Reuven's saying. That's to the right or the left. And I hear what Shimon is saying. To the right, to the left. And I need to find, so who's really in the right? Or let's say you have a judge and somebody did a crime. And on one side, that crime, he should have 10 years in jail. On the other side, though, he was going through stuff. There's ways to understand where he's coming from. Maybe his medication wasn't correct, and maybe there's another factor that shouldn't make it that he's at fault. Whatever. So we give him 5 years. But really, the crime was so bad, they can't say that the middle is exactly it. So the middle's got to be 7 years. So the judge has to see all the sides and see what's the middle. That's to bring out the mishpat to or, to bring out what's the correct way to go. And the chachamim, it looks like, are the ones that know how to do this. When you go to big tzaddikim, they know how to find the middle path. Even though Moti asked another question, and we're putting a lot of questions on the table here. He asked another question yesterday, a beautiful question. He said, okay, you should listen to the words of the tzaddik. So, give me an example of the words of a tzaddik. He paskins, you bring a chicken, and he paskins, is it kosher or postel? And let's say he says it's treif, postel. So, you should listen to his words. And don't veer to the right or to the left. What's right and left of puzzle? I have the question. I understand if something's in the middle, don't go to this way or that way. But he paskined the puzzle. So loisaser, don't go to the right or the left. Maybe the right would be to say it's kosher. What's the left of puzzle?
Making puzzle all chickens?
Taking it too far, maybe? He said puzzle, put up signs, puzzle. You should pick it now. Hafganas. Could be. Taking his chumrah too far. I like that answer. He said puzzle on this chicken. He didn't mean all chickens. I remember when this whole big thing came out about the chickens. Because when they used a certain needle that goes to the chicken, whatever, and it makes maybe a puncture, it was a whole tumult. And it was amazing to see there were those that took every chicken of the badas. And others said, no, chickens are still okay. But these are chachamim. So let's say those are chacham, and they said all chickens are puzzle. If they said all chickens are puzzle, so how do I, and they're really chachamim, how do I not go to the right or the left of what they have to say? All food is breatharianism. Speaking of which, thank you, Mrs. Israel.
The apple mango ones are eggs. Apple blueberry, all of us to make shahakal. I'd assume it's the same for the apple strawberry ones too.
See? Psak.
So apple mango is eggs?
I believe so. It's fruit. And if it will help you have shachris. If you think it's just stam like moistris, then you probably don't need to have it. Even though it's interesting, when the Chaim is mentioning the halachas of making tea and coffee, Shabbos, and discussing, are you even allowed to have a coffee with milk and sugar before Shachris? If you're drinking the coffee to get you to Shachris, who says you need the milk and the sugar? If the whole thing is just like a utilitarian, get the job done, so then what's with the milk and the sugar? So the Chavetz Chaim says because people have a hard time with just black coffee, and therefore it's mutter. It's mutter. But can you get a Starbucks situation with, chocolate powder on the top? So it could be yes, if that's what you need. I don't even know. It could be yes. And I'll tell you why, because in our door, we have a hard time. Furthermore, and I never heard this explicitly, but Rav Tzvi Meyer, when he has a coffee, if some of the chaver got to have some of his coffee this Shabbos, it is so sweet and has so much milk in it. It is like candy. Now, I don't think the Rebbe needs coffee that sweet. I might be incorrect. My feeling is maybe, I mentioned this before, maybe what the tzaddik is saying is like a vort. He's saying, I know you read the Mishnah Berurah, and he says that you could have some, milk and sugar in your coffee because you have a hard time getting down the black coffee. But don't think that, you should probably hold yourself back. Put 3 granules of sugar in there and a tiny splash of milk and just okay, I know the Mishnah Berurah said, but I don't want, I don't want to get in trouble. I've been Shemayim, so I still struggle to have the coffee. I think what he's saying is, if the Mishnah Berurah said you can have a coffee with milk and sugar, and our door is such that it's not pashut and we need more fancy things, I think in that case it would be okay. The person should be honest with themselves, what they feel they need. And I think in our door, if this will be something that will really even psychologically help you get to Shachris in a healthy way, I think that's part of it.
It's also emunas chachamim. Also, it could be the Chofetz Chaim, the whole Misa of getting no furniture in his house, and he got no furniture, and he's asking us for all. He was the epitome, the whole Gashmias, and the daf is milk and cream. I think a thought too. It's not about trying to It's not about trying to just bare minimum it, but it's more about the system of what is kind of hoping on the way to Shabbos. I
think what is just fun. This question comes up all the time. Can I work out before Shacharis? So if it's just stam, I have a lunch engagement with somebody when I usually work out, and therefore it's more convenient before Shacharis, I'm not so into that. But if you tell me, it pumps me up for Shacharis. You know what kind of Shacharis I have when you do, some squats, some dips, you mamish get involved. That's amazing. You feel good going into Shacharis. So if something gets you to Shachris in a pumped up way, as opposed to what my Rebbe sometimes says, you get to Shachris, you put your talus over, it's like going back under the covers, and it's tucked back in. And that's not what kind of Shachris is that. You want to be so pumped up for Shachris. By the way, what is the classic way to get pumped up for Shachris? Learning Torah before Shachris. Yes, mikvah. And learning Torah. You get, especially in the cold plunge. Going to the cold mikvah? I'm saying that. You are awakened for Shachris. So yes, learning before Shachris gets you into Shachris. Davening before Shachris gets you into Shachris. His boidus, mikvah, cold plunge, workout, coffee, if that's your thing. Lakute Cafe. So through this, Yechoim lahoitze mishpatein laor, we could bring out the mishpat to or. Or is also going to be a nice in the Torah. Ki mishpat hu amud de emtza. So we're going to see a bit of the Torah, and we're going to try to just fill some of this in. Because mishpat is something called the middle amud. I'm sure the Mikubalim could get involved in this. That there's the right side, the left side, and there's the middle path. Middle. Tiferes. Hainu bechinas derech hamemutza, the middle path. We love the middle path. But being balanced. She'einu noiteli min v'lasmol. He's not looking for all sorts of chumras on one side, and he's not looking to be lenient on the other side. Yois midai. And through this, of really understanding, believing in the tzaddikim, we arrive at this. Like the Torah says, loy sasser. Don't veer from the tzaddikim. Yamin o small. The tzaddikim are straight. The alkane, and there's an alkane here. Therefore, ali dezeh, here it is again. Yoitze hamishpat barur. Mishpat, the correct way to judge and live life, becomes clear. Canal, like we saw above. Did we see mishpat bara before? Did we see another word for mishpat blank? La'or. La'or. Then the mishpat will become like or. Now he says, oh, the mishpat will be barur, clear, like we said above. We didn't say that above, we said or. It looks like Rabbeinu is trying to teach us something, that bar must be or. Because he said, like we said above, and what we said above was or. So bar must be or. Clarity must be light. Now Rabbeinu could have just said the same word. Why didn't you just say, Yotzeh mishpat la'or, like we said above? No, bar must be or. It's got to be something with or. The bechinas mishpatei emes, and now Rabbeinu adds emes, that the judgment of how to live life is going to be true. It looks like veering from truth. Oh, I love when Daniel's front and center. Laisasa liyamin l'smal, right here. Hainu. So we're going to see a little bit, and we're going to get the rhythm here of what's happening. Hainu ki kol halimudim she'odam loimed. Everything that a person learns. Now, when Rabbeinu says everything that a person learns, what does that mean? Everything that a person learns. So, I heard there are those that want to say everything that a person learns, besifrei kodesh. Whatever a person learns, he has to take out of that how to live life. But Reb Nachman doesn't say everything that you learn in the holy books. It looks like he's saying everything that you learn in life. Life itself is teaching you things. Everything. Kol halimudim, which means anything that you learn mamish. Anything. All learning. We're learning all the time. You walk on the street and you see something, you didn't learn from that? Something didn't touch you from that life experience? Kol halimudim she'adam loimed. You don't have to add in here sifrei kodesh. Reb Nachman happened to be into the news. Was tut sich in the Welt? What's going on? What's pulsing through Hashem's world? And can I learn from that pulse? Kol halimudim she'adam loimed, everything. Are you really picking up on the pulse of life? Mamish. What's the office called that admits you into places? The office of like colleges and stuff?
Admissions. Yeah.
Admissions?
The dean of admissions.
So the dean of admissions letter that wrote me back from said college, how did he write it? What did he say? What's kol halimud? Am I learning up his email? I'd be medayik, you know?
You would medayik ChatGPT, like, Chizzuk.
Kol halimudin. Now, I have to be careful with this, because it's very easy to go to extremes and not chap what's happening. Kol halimudim, so the Rebbe says here, Sha'adam loimed, sarach she'ekabel, receive it, v'yoytze mehem, and then it should come, there's yotzi again, come out from them, mishpatei emes. What does God want me to do based on this? Now sometimes it could be to just disregard it, to not be geiris it. That's the mishpatei emes. It could be that I'm thinking that I should really take this very seriously, but the mishpatei emes in this is that this is an illusion from the Yetzer Hara, Sometimes the person says, no, what do you mean? Like, a pop-up on my phone that said that I should go to that website. It came up, Rabbi. Like, obviously it's a sign from God, right? Otherwise it wouldn't have popped up. And the girl who texted me, whatever, it's a sign from the Lord to meet up later in Mamilla. Like, how could I say no? Like, I'd be denying God if there's something called the Torah that God gave you. How to learn up that situation and find the mishpatei emes. What is the straight path that I should take in that?
Like yesterday in Poland, remember he sent me something to unpack. This was really interesting. It was talking about like the time in Rabbi, right? This wicked king, and then like Hashem on his downfall, so sent false prophets to him, so he would go to war and fail. And Gemara said, yeah, it was wicked, but like he didn't like false prophet. What was he supposed to do about it? And then Gemara says like, no, like even though they're prophets, he should have been like doesn't treat you like a hero. Like he should have like
learned them up.
You know what? You would have seen like wait a second, they're all like Joe can tell something's true, it's sad. You can tell like something's true with multiple people and explain the same concept but a different style. Because then like multiple people like they understand it, they're unique with expressing
yes.
it. Instead they all say the exact same thing.
Navi Sheker.
It's more likely to cop out from like Sunlight Sheker, exactly.
That's right.
They should have done that. And like so it's like, yeah, like even if it's a nebuah, you have to like do some true shit here and there.
It seems to be a tactic sometimes when all of a sudden every news outlet uses like the same line. It's like I'm sure nobody's paying them to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden everybody on every network says like the same like. You couldn't have said it in your own language? Like you couldn't have like learned it up and said no, parrot the same line. The Daila Maven. So kol alimudim shadam loimed, everything. Yes, Daniel.
How do you? What's like the best way to remember everything you're learning? Because now you can't just remember everything you learn, and then mishpatei emet comes out.
I think one of the ways is if you could do it in real time, it's good. Certain times you can't. The tzaddikim advised us before you go to bed at night to do a complete chazara on your day.
In your head.
Yes.
Says it, right?
Yes. To sit before you go to sleep and just do like a scan of your entire day. How did you wake up? How did that go? How was the snooze situation this morning? Okay. Oh, I met that guy on the way to Shachris. How was that encounter? The whole day, going through it. And if you get good at this, you can do it pretty quickly. And you literally see the whole day, and you could deal with situations. Also, sometimes in the middle of a situation, you're too emotionally wrapped up in the situation. You have a hard time seeing it with mishpatei emes. You need a bit of perspective. Something my Rebbe always says is ma sheyaseh azman lo yaseh seichel. Remember that line. Ma sheyaseh azman lo yaseh seichel. Time has a way of giving perspective that you can't figure out always in the moment. By the way, this is a big tip when it comes to shidduchim. Sometimes a person meets a girl, the girl meets the guy, and they're trying to like learn up the whole thing. They can spend hours after the date. Yes, no,
Like video film or video.
Yeah. Give it a few days. Get back into Torah. Some of the guys, like, I haven't seen you in like morning seder for like a week. So, like I went on a date last week and I'm like thinking about it. Okay, get back into seder. And you'll see, things will become clear as time goes on. Just get back in the game. Get back in the game. You'll see time as a way. Ma sheyaseh azman, lo yaseh seichel. Time as a way of creating clarity in ways that you can't learn up right now. So I think one of the ways is give yourself the space. At the end of the day, it's a good thing. Rosh Chodesh is a good time to review your month. Erev Rosh Hashanah, Erev Rosh Chodesh for sure. Erev Rosh Chodesh is like Yom Kippur. Like Yom Kippur. Learn up. Sometimes you need space. Sometimes you could do it in the moment. You have to receive the limud. I think that diuk, you have to receive the limud, is also Don't think that if something happened, like whatever, it happened to you. Receive that life experience. It's God's world. It happened. Learn, and then v'yotzi. First, just accepting it, and then v'yotzi mihem mishpatei emes. How do you want me to go in this way, based on that life experience? How should I learn it up? Not go to the right, not go to the left. The first step is connecting back to the tzaddikim, emunas chachamim.
Don't let the pain hit you. You gotta take in the pain, but then let it pass.
For sure, you have to take it in. You have to be yakabel, receive the experience. Don't bottle things up, pretend it didn't happen. And then go through a process of learning it up. Learn up what happened. And interesting, Rabbeinu now says, if you don't do this, shelo yeh b'chinas mishpat me'ukal. Don't let life not be learned up properly, that you come to crooked mishpat, which would appear to be something on the yamin or the small. If mishpatei emes is straight, it's amud de emtza isa, it's the derech ha-beinani, it's the derech ha-melech, it's going straight in life, and that's connecting to the tzaddikim. And if I don't do that, I'm going to be a crooked person. God forbid. My mishpat's going to be twisted. Which is fascinating. We're also seeing like these like dichotomies. Either you're emes or you're crooked. What about like I'm like chetzi chetzi, like they say. Chetzi chetzi. I'm a shtickle emes, I'm a shtickle ma'ukal.
No such thing.
I have emunas chachamim a little bit, like I sort of do, you know what I'm saying? We're going to see, it looks like it's either yeah or not.
Rabbi, it was saying here a person should constantly be looking of hints of holiness, everything around him every day.
Yeah, that's like learning up the situation. What was God teaching me from that?
But then like people could just start making up their own like mythical whatevers. And
like there was a reason why that I saw the girl and this, and we're obviously supposed to, then she asked me to do something. It's not a sign.
Does he want us to think like
it's not a sign.
Like
so that's why if you have emunas chachamim and connection to tzaddikim, they're going to teach you this is the straight path, how to learn that up. But not to disregard it. If it happened, there's something that happened in life. Something that happened. Sometimes we have a hard time in the moment seeing this. Sometimes I speak to people about that are going through like different health challenges, or I spoke to one person that's coming to mind right now, certain mental health things that he was going through. And I remember telling him, I said, you're going to be good not despite this, but because of this. Because of this, you're going to be such a big person. And a few years later, he messaged a Rebbe, like a WhatsApp message, and he told the Rebbe, like, can you please play this to Moshe Chaim? So the message was just, he said, you should know, people were telling me, like, disregard all this and like erase this part of your life. And in a certain way I had to, because there was a lot of pain. But through time I see now, if I would have just erased this entirely, it wouldn't have made me into the man I am today. And I became so big because of this, and the message was so happy and confident. He saw that this was all part of a journey for him to go on. And it was so beautiful to see. It was that there was a mishpat emes, there was a spark of holiness there, that he learned out of that experience, and that it took him to a whole new level of being a human being. It was so beautiful. So we can't always see it, I think, in the moment. But if you give space to this, you'll learn up the mishpatei emes from it. What was God talking to me? What was He telling me through that experience?
The whole simple one, like Rebbe Nachman, that like the first step you're supposed to put like outside, and then so you do your thing, you can kind of like over time.
Beautiful.
That kind of
yes.
You can't like in the moment like to have a car event, you like first go inside, but like
it naturally the depression we said naturally will go minatzad, but the higher levels we bring him into the circle. He might not be ready to come in right now. Meaning, it's in us.
Yeah.
It naturally go, what are you doing on this? Hey, come on. And then, Kimarain. Come, Rabbi.
So you shouldn't just make up things right away. You should say like, thank you Hashem for whatever you did.
Thank you Hashem for sure. Sheyekabel. I think maybe you could say it. Shetzarach sheyekabel. Yekabel is something in the moment. This was from Hashem. Yoitzim mishpatei emes. That may take some time. But I will get there. And how am I going to get there? I need emunas chachamim. Yeah, Yichi.
So, when reflecting on your day, right, or looking for the mishpatei emes, is this meant to be somewhat of a critical time as well? For, let's say you did something wrong, right? Saying, I don't know, maybe that happened because I'm not in such a good standing with Hashem. Maybe I did something right, or that's not such a good place to go to because you really don't know God's intention, and rather to say like, you know, what happens, I'm going to make the best of it, but not to kind of, I don't want to say beat yourself up, but say like, oh, that totally happened because I did this. Like, is that unhealthy?
To totally be definitive right away can be difficult, especially if you don't have the whole picture. And I think that's why the tzaddikim play a big part in this, is they give us much more of a picture of what's going on. We're going to see later in the Torah that Rebbe Nachman has this whole piece about you writing your Chidushei Torah. We're going to see this amazing piece about you need to believe in yourself. Which itself is a funny thing. Hold on, wait a second. Rebbe, you said the whole Torah is about emunas chachamim. About going to the tzaddik. What's with my chidushim? I'll go to the tzaddik and I'll just, strap me up and just, just inject the juice from the mashpia and I'm good to go. All of a sudden the whole Torah moves to, and it's all about your chidushim. My chidushim? What's with my chidushim? So I want to put this on the table now, just that people sort of feel out that there's some amazing movement happening in this Torah, that it's about going to the tzaddik at the same time. That will bring out your own chidushim, your own individuality in the story of finding the mishpat emes. Let's continue. Everything mishpatei, and now he adds hanhagas, how to live mamish, how to move, to have a hanhaga, sheyeda ech lisnag. This is one of the biggest noises of the whole Torah, is hanhaga. How are you living? How are you moving? How are you donning? How are you? There's going to be a major noise in the Torah, your hanhaga.
And it says also how to guide people.
Oh, and then we're going to get also that. Why did Rabbeinu have to go there? The next piece is kol echad. Now, all of a sudden, you could have stopped there. How you should live. And the Rabbeinu says, hein la'atzmai, for yourself, hein la'acherim. Why do you have to talk about other people? If this whole Torah is just, I have to go and be connected with tzaddikim, and be connected to emunas chachamim, and they're going to teach me how to not stray to the right and the left. They're going to teach me how to go straight and have emes. And I'm going to start living a life of having straightness and be able to learn up every situation so that I could be a straight person. Why does the Rebbe have to say, oh, and by the way, for yourself and for other people? He could have kept it like localized. All of a sudden he's now saying that be careful of this for yourself, because for yourself it's going to start influencing others. For other people who listen to you. Seemingly, what the Rebbe is saying is if you're crooked and people start asking you for advice, oh, that's going to be, crooked squared. Because if you're not straight, you're to the yamin. Okay? So now this guy, he thinks that straight is yamin. So now he's going to be going crooked. You're already giving him a crooked path. Who knows how crooked that could all get? Whereas the tzaddikim are just straight. Eila told us Yaakov, Yosef, David.
But you can't avoid everyone in your life. There's always going to be someone crooked telling you something.
Oh, so this Torah is going to very much get into that noiser of being careful of crooked people. But the Rebbe is starting with yourself. First take ownership, am I straight? Am I emes? And if I'm straight, then I'll help other people who happen to like to listen to what I have to say to be straight also. Somebody says, Daniel, should I go out to the bar tonight? So, okay. So, okay. He's going to listen to your das. Yeah, Chad.
So, kind of what you're saying is that even, like, I feel like you're still able to sometimes give people advice even if you're not straight. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm able, even if I'm not, let's say, in the best, but, like, take that bar example and say, like, I'm not in a good place and I was going there and then my friend's like, should I come with you? And then my advice to him is not to, even though I'm not giving that to myself, but sometimes I feel like you're able to still give other people as good advice.
So you're saying that even though it could be that in that moment you're really doing tshuva, because you're not saying, yeah, let's go to the bar. You're saying, I know that I'm struggling with this thing. But I'm clear enough about that I don't think that you should get involved. That's already that you're moving back straight. And you're admitting, I'm struggling with something, but at least it looks like you're clear enough to say that I don't want you to get involved in that orbit. There's already a clarity of that. Sometimes that's like an older brother thing. It's like the older, sibling is like involved in all sorts of not good things. And like, the seventh grade, bro, like, can I take a hit? He's like, no, you don't know like where this goes to. Like, I'm done, but at least I have enough das to say that you shouldn't, bro. That's already tshuva. That older bro is at least he's not a menace to get his seventh grade brother into it. He's smart enough, at least on that nakuda. He could be more crooked, that brother, and say, yeah, let's go, bro. I feel there's already a tshuva there. There's already a clarity. And maybe part of, at the end of one's day, that you find in the Mishpatei Emes would be, okay, you sit down. And even though that you were going to the bar, you tell your buddy it's not going to be good for you. So then you think to yourself at the end of the day, what gave me the clarity to tell him not to go? And you start going like a mission. You find the Mishpatei Emes. Maybe I should take that advice for myself. So it's like the beginning of a journey of finding that clarity. And then the Rebbe says, Kol echa ve'echa kefi bechinasai. Every single person according to his bechina, kefi hamemshala ve'arabanos sheyesh loi, hein l'rav, hein l'ma'at. Each person according to how much influence he has. Which is, I don't want to, mix Torahs, but in Nun Vav, when we talk about Malchus, everybody has Malchus. Some people, Sarai Alofim, Sarai Meis. Each person has a certain amount of power and influence. Either it's a lot of influence or lema'at. And Rabbeinu spoke there about different souls that put into the world with more influence. So that's part of understanding the Mishpatei Emes, is that if I have a lot of influence, I really better be careful. I have to really be careful about how I'm influencing other people.
I mean, everybody's careful because even there we said there's people with independent influence.
Oh,
And they don't even know that they have influence.
Very good. Very good. To be very careful. Is to see at least in Nigla, what influence he has. And people will learn from you. That's why when a person, let's say even on a simple level, when a person has more and more influence, can he do the same things that he did before? Because people will learn from him. Oh, Rabbi so-and-so does it, it must be fine. If somebody with a little influence does it, might not be such a thing. Oh, he eats by that restaurant. It must be fine for everybody. Has to be careful. The kol zeh zoichen ale de emunas chachamim. All of this to be straight and to get mishpatei emes and not to have mishpat me'ukol, not to be crooked in how we live. And what the Rebbe said, hanhagas, how to live, and how we're naturally influencing others because they're asking us advice. That all comes through connecting to emunas chachamim. And we mentioned in the beginning, an emunah of chachma, which we said before is like a power of diuk, is that when the tzaddik says, it's a clarity in that vision. Shu b'chinas lo yisasser. Don't veer. And if we do this, as yucha lahaitzi, there's lahaitzi again. Mishpatei anhagas yesharis. Now we have something called yashar. We have mishpatei emes. We have anhagas. We have mishpat barer. We have mishpat yotze mishpatein or. Looks like or, barer, emes, and yashar are all connected. Or, barer, emes, and yashar are all connected on one side. And what's on the other side? We have mu'ukal, we have yamin small, we have the opposite of or, we have the opposite of barer. This Torah seems to have these two sides associated with it. She'eni noitali min v'l'small kanir la'el. And then the Rebbe says, "Aval poigim b'emunas chachamim." When a person is poigim, when he goes against emunas chachamim, and the word pagam means something is blemished in it. What's this blemish? Some blemish. When something is blemished in it, as I need doing b'yegias bosar. This whole noise we started talking about yesterday. Hainu b'moisrais. He gets judged, which is also an Indian of mishpat. Nidain is like mishpat, is judgment. Yesh din v'yesh dayan. He gets judged in moisrais. Kamoish am Rabbi Seinu Zal ha'lo yegal divrei chachamim. Someone who's a loyig, someone who makes fun of the words of the chachamim. That's interesting, making fun. I would have thought that he just doesn't align with them. Why does Rebbe go so far to say he's making fun of them?
It's like we said yesterday, you cannot align with them. You can have a different opinion. As two chachamim can have different opinions, doesn't mean that they disrespect each other. They're not making fun of each other.
So they hold of him. They hold this. I think what it means, like we're saying, they hold that he is being straight, but it's different shirish neshamas. They hold that he's meduyak. He's specific. He is a straight way for his shirish neshama. He's not claiming that he's yamin or small. He's not claiming that he's ma'ukal. But someone who's loyag means he's disregarding him being straight. Like Rabbi Aaron Kotler, we said in the Satmar Rebbe, they held of each other as godless. Yeah.
There's an idea that you should learn from everyone.
Yeah.
Is this a contradiction to the chachamim?
I think loim ezu chachma loim kol adam is kol halimudim sha'adam loimid, is you're learning from everybody. Everybody has something to guide you in. But now the question is, how am I going to learn up what that person said? How am I going to learn up his shtickle that he just shared with me? Loim mikol adam. The CNN anchor. Loim mikol adam, right? But to know how to learn up what they have to say, I need to be connected to tzaddikim. I think that's the nakuda. I have to connect myself up to know how to learn it up. What's the mishpat emes? And like we said at the beginning, mishpat means I see it go like this. Is it like this? What should I learn out from what he said?
Can the mishpat emes be something different for each person? Can different people derive different good and important lessons from the same event?
I think so.
So wouldn't that mean that it's more of a subjective, individual thing than going to tzaddikim to almost hear what their inspiration was, which is beautiful, but then doesn't that not leave so much room for you to create your own?
That's what the whole thing here about Chidushei Torah we're going to have to see. Looks like there's something deeper. It's not about just going and whatever they said is they said. Whatever they said was meduyak. I need to learn to also be meduyak, to not stray. I need to learn how to be meduyak.
It's straight.
To be meduyak means precise, exact, straight. You notice big tzaddikim, less than telling you what to do, they just create clarity of the whole situation, and you're able to figure it out yourself. they don't want to tell you what to do. They want to make the story very clear for you. They have such a pristine awareness of the reality, and they pull you into that awareness as well. This is going to be big things here we're going to get into. So says the Rebbe, which we said is moisrus, which we said is the thing that's rejected by the body. So that thing that a person says, I reject tzaddikim, he is judged with that very thing which is rejected material. Kamay shekosav, v'lahag harbe yegias bosa. Lahag is like loyeg. V'umida keneged mida. Mida keneged mida, which is also mishpat. Mida keneged mida. Ki einam mamen bedivrein. He doesn't believe their words. Umalig aleim. Looks like there's two dargas here. There's mamin and malig. V'divreim heim ach lemoiser eitzlai. There's something like, it's not it. He's not on. He's off. Tzaddikim are on. They're with it. So here that he's saying, now there's other. So that's like, he's rejecting something. There's something outside. If mishpat emes is like it, and then there's other stuff around, yamin or small, so that's the same thing as like the body integrating the food. And then there's like, that's what it is, that's what you want. And there's like other. So he's moving to the external, the other stuff. And that, he'll be judged in that other. Al kain nidim b'moisaras. Now this next part I want to go into more tomorrow, just to begin it. Because the Rebbe then takes us to like another world here. V'kol ha-mishpotim hein min ha-moyach. Where does my power of mishpat come from? From my mind. To be able to judge something clearly, accurately, is that I have clarity of mind, clarity of thought. My mind is working properly. I could see, no, this is yamin, this is small. My mind has to be clear. The bechinas, v'yiru mipnei ha-melech, ki ro ki chochmas elikim bekir boi lasois mishpat. Again, there's going to be also something here we're going to see about ra'u, vision, eyes. There's going to be a whole noise here about eyes, about seeing things clearly. Ki ro ki chochmas elikim bekir boi lasois mishpat. He sees that there's a chachma, there's also chachma, emunas chachamim, bekir boy, in him, lasois mishpat. He sees there's something that's clear in the tzaddik. He sees things in a clear way. Ve'hamoyach hu lefi hamozon. Reb Nachman so much takes us into the body always. Your mind is very dependent on the food you eat. Not only that you get all your phytonutrients and things like that, you know, there's certain foods that are like brain foods and things like that. But it means that if a person's digestive system is not working properly, and the mazon is not quite working, which also creates moisrus situations where the stuff that comes out of the body from the other side, the rejected material, the extra stuff. If a person's eating is not healthy or balanced, by the way, one of the biggest things in this is food combining rules. Don't eat melons after a meal. Why? Simple pshat. Because let's say you had some steak. The steak take a good amount of time to digest? Yeah, you know how long, you know what your body has to do? To take a piece of fleishik and turn that into liquid and blood? That's a lot of juices, certain stomach acids to break that down. What about nuts? Nuts, you know how hard a nut is? You have to turn that into a liquid in your body. That's what they say. A person eats too much nuts, he goes nuts. Like he's just, your body can't digest it, and it creates moisture, and excuse me for saying, like flatulation things. It's That's not an easy thing. So now, what about a melon? Is that hard or easy to digest? It's basically water to begin with. So the thing, watermelon especially, watermelon wants to digest very quickly. So imagine now you have some nuts, some steak on there, you just like drop a melon there. So the steak is like, rega, this is going to take some time to digest.
It's like the classic Israeli, like, in the line.
Exactly. And the melon is like, let's go. Not to mention that there's different juices. That's a sweet thing, and these are protein things. So the melon's like, I want to just die. I'm ready to go. So what happens? It just sits there. And what happens when a sugary element is in a warm, hot fermentation? And that creates moistness. And that creates like brain fog and flatulation and all sorts of not positive. So the mind gets like foggy.
That's scientifically backed up.
Yeah. I'm saying, poik chazi, go out and see when you have bad food combining.
Try it.
Under control.
It's just a reality. It's things just don't quite, the system's not working properly. So we're going to see this whole Torah here, that mishpat is in our mind. And mishpatei emes is something that is in the chachma, and having emunas chachamim, of understanding the role of the sages. So what do we say in summary? We spoke about emunas chachamim. And we spoke about how it's all about getting our mishpat to or, clarity. And or is bar, or is clear, it's light. And we spoke about how that's all the middle path. That's the Amud Dam Isa, being a balanced human being, not going liyamin l'smol. And listening to the tzaddikim is meduyuk. It's not to yamin and it's not to the small. And through that we're going to have mishpatei emes, and it's going to be bar. And we said all of our limudim, Rabbi Nachman made this like global. Everything that you learn about, there's sparks of holiness. There's something that I could learn up from that situation and find emes. And if I do that properly, I'll come to mishpatei emes. It'll be clear. I'll be going in the right way, as opposed to mishpat me'ukal, which seems to be something that's crooked. And through that, then Reb Nachman added hanahaga. Your whole way is going to be straight. You're going to be going in a straight way. And then he said you have to be careful because that's going to be not only for yourself, but you're going to be influencing other people. And if you're straight, you'll be able to help other people be straight. And the person is crooked, lo aleinu, then it's going to lead to more crookedness in the world. And then Rabbeinu said, be careful because some people have a little influence, some people have a lot of influence. And by having connection to the tzaddikim, it's going to lead to straightness. And then we said if a person, chas v'shalom, is poigem in emunas chachamim, it's going to lead to moistness, and to being judged by that very thing that he's rejecting. He's going to be judged by rejected material. And then we opened up a whole new noise here about that mishpat is in the mind. Mishpat is in our mind. And according to the Mazon, according to our digestive situation, if there's moistness, that's going to make all sorts of fogginess in our ability to have mishpatei emes. We should be zoicha mamish to all the bracha mishpatei emes, to be yashar, to be straight, to be good, b'siyata d'shmaya, and to see the true mishpat and the melech b'mishpat yamad aretz with Hashem revealing himself once and for all with the binyan beis hamikdash b'meherav yameinu. Amen. Oh Yahu Hasheinu matol rageinu manayim aleinu. Oh Yahu Hasheinu matol rageinu manayim aleinu. Again, no, my